You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borg. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Friday, 19th day of December, 2025. Thanks for joining us. Wherever you are, just glad to have you right here now. 2 live broadcasts every trading day. Now, the first broadcast is our live training room, so that one's private. You got to be a member or taking the 1-week free trial to get in there. Not yet taken the 1-week free trial. Michael joins us in about an hour. He'll walk you through the steps of taking the trial. Take you about 3 minutes. There's no credit card required. Trial will officially begin Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's when we go to work. That's when the Globex markets open. And your trial will run all the way through next Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. Obviously, you're going to lose a couple days there because of the holiday. So we will extend you into the next week to make sure you get 5 consecutive days. Take the trial, holidays and weekends, and never count against the 5 days. Okay? And again, there's no credit card required. We want you to be focused on what's being taught so that at the end of your trial, you can make a well-informed, intelligent decision as to whether or not trading is right for you. So, if you've not yet taken the trial, be sure and stick around. And Michael will walk you through the process in about an hour. Now, the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. 3-minute break. Come back for this broadcast, the noon broadcast, which is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth, internet connected. There's 2 different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. Best way, you only have to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com. Scroll down the page to where it says noon broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day you'll get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. Email, there's a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email. It'll automatically log you into our platform. The benefit there is you'll have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there'll be days you're out of the office, away from your desktop, still want to join live. And some days you'll be busy, can't join live, but you want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. It's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. But all you have to remember is youtube.com/CF. Now, not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 2,900 daily episodes archived for your educational viewing pleasure. Due to our neck of the woods, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. Thanks to the power of YouTube. Scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more. Obviously, you're not going to watch them all, nor do you need to. It's a great resource to have at your fingertips, and it does allow you to see how we've evolved over these many years, day by day by day. YouTube.com/CFN. On the left side of the screen, you see our schedule for each afternoon broadcast. So we'll dive into our daily devotional, which is where we start each and every day. Today's scripture is John 3, verses 16 through 18. I'm going to share it with you from the Message translation. This is how much God loved the world. He gave his Son, his one and only Son. And this is why. So that no one need be destroyed. By believing in him, anyone can have a whole and lasting life. God didn't go to all the trouble of sending his Son merely to point an accusing finger, telling the world how bad it was. He came to help, put the world right again. Anyone who trusts in him is acquitted. Anyone who refuses to trust him has long since been under the death sentence without knowing. And why? Because of that person's failure to believe in the one-of-a-kind Son of God introduced. Again, that's John 3, verses 16 through 18 from the Message translation. Fourth Sunday of Advent is called the Sunday of Love. God so loved the world, he gave his one and only Son. Advent is a time when we prepare our hearts to celebrate Jesus. The most powerful demonstration of God's love for us is that he gave his one and only Son to take on flesh, die, and be raised again. God's love for us didn't begin with the birth of Jesus. His love has no beginning and no end. The Bible tells one long story of God's love for us. The gift of Jesus is at the center of the story. Jesus already existed before his birth, enjoying the perfect loving fellowship of the Trinity, Father, Son, Spirit. Jesus loved us from the beginning as he participated in the creation of the world. God didn't create the world because he was lonely or that he needed us. It was out of this overflowing Trinitarian love God made the world and in it. Jesus' storybook Bible puts it this way. God wrote, I love you. Wrote it in the sky and on the earth, sea. Wrote the message everywhere. Because God created everything in his world, reflect him like a mirror to show us what he is like. Help us know, make our hearts sing. God so loved the world, called what he made good and blessed it. And he blessed Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. All they needed to flourish. Best of all, they enjoyed intimate communion with God. All that changed when they disobeyed God, ate the apple. Loving fellowship with God was broken. Felt ashamed and hid from him. But out of love, God already put a plan in place to restore us to himself. The entirety of Scripture tells of God's relentless pursuit to reconnect a loving relationship with us. In the Old Testament, God told Abraham that he would make him into a great nation and that all families on earth were blessed through him. Abraham's descendants became Israel. God called them to be a holy nation, a kingdom of priests. Israel was to be set apart as a community of worship, love, and justice, so that they could represent God to the other nations. They were to display his character so that the other nations know him. And God also sent prophet after prophet to point to the coming Messiah. There are at least 300 prophecies in the Old Testament, all fulfilled in Jesus. God so loved the world that at the right time in history, God carried out the plan that he had from the beginning. Culminated at that moment more than 2,000 years ago. Jesus, being in the very nature of God, with God in the beginning, was born as a baby in a manger, Bethlehem. Fled to Egypt with his parents as refugees and grew up in Nazareth, likely learning carpentry. His stepfather Joseph. Jesus only spent 3 years in public ministry, where he was functionally homeless as he traveled and ministered. Jesus humbled himself in every way to live and walk among us and to show his great love for us. In a short time on earth, he alone perfectly revealed who God is to the world. Jesus loved us to the very end by giving his life for us. And by his death and resurrection on the cross, the world is saved through. Now in Christ, all who believe are adopted into God's family. Now we are all the kingdom of priests, joining Jesus and his mission. Make God known by living a life. Jesus said, "A new command I give you. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this everyone will know you are my disciples." Love. This command was new because before Jesus came, we didn't know what love incarnate looked like. Jesus embodied the heights, depth, and breadth of the love of God, and he made the love of God fully accessible to us through what he accomplished on the cross. This new command Jesus gave us can be summed up by this question: how can I love others as Jesus loves me? May we daily ask ourselves how we can love like Jesus. Humble, gentle, sacrificial ways, big and small. Mother Teresa said, "I am a little pencil in the hand of a writing God, sending a love letter to the world." we all be instruments in the hand of God as He continues to write the story of His love to us. God so loved the world that He gave His one and only Son. Whoever believes in Him shall not perish, but have eternal life. One day, all things will consummate in an act of love. Jesus comes again, second advent, fully reconcile the world to Himself. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank You for loving the world so much that You gave Your only Son. Receive the gift of salvation through Jesus, and we choose to live in the light of Your grace and truth. Help us believe, walk in faith, and share Your love, so others may know the life. It's in Jesus' name, believe and pray. Everybody said, and happy Friday. Give you the numbers. Start here in the US with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Currently, the Dow is up 285 points. Nasdaq's up 267, a little over 1%, almost 1.25%. S&P 500 up 59, almost 1%. And the Russell 2000 up 24 points, again, almost 1%. In the commodity basket, oil up 52 cents, trading 56.67 last. It's a gain of almost 1%. Gold up $21.40, trading $4,386.40 last. Silver up $2.24, trading $67.46 last. That's a gain of almost 3.5%. Asian markets at the close. Nikkei posted a gain of 505 points, just over 1%. Shanghai rose 14. Hang Seng gained 192. And in the European markets, at the close, FTSE posted a gain, 60 points. DAX rose 88. CAC basically unchanged on the session, not quite a full point. 0.74, so that actually makes it green. So I can actually say we had a green day in Asia. It was a green day for the UK, just barely. And it's a green Radio Friday here in the US of A. It's unusual. We have, although earlier this week we had all three markets in the red, so, or all three countries, all three continents, whatever you want to call it. Everything was red. So now here's the green. And historically, we should rally into the holiday. That's because I don't have the charts up, Jeff. I'll bring those up after we go. Turning to the news, police said yesterday they found the body of the suspected gunman behind Saturday's Brown University shooting and the killing days later of MIT physics professor Bruno. Authorities identified the gunman as 48-year-old Claudio Valente, former Brown University graduate student, last known to be living in Miami, Florida. Police did not publicly identify a motive as of this writing. Valente had attended the same university in Portugal as the slain MIT professor. He had also studied physics at Brown University from 2001 to 2003. He took a leave of absence. So yesterday, police had not publicly identified a connection between the attacks. Valente was discovered dead by suicide in a storage unit last night in Salem, New Hampshire. Lurio had researched magnetic fields in the universe, and I'm sure Google both of them and find out everything you want. Democrats on the House Oversight Committee released roughly 70 photos of Jeffrey Epstein's estate yesterday, one day before the Justice Department's deadline to disclose a separate trove of Epstein files under the new Epstein Files Transparency Act. Photos from a batch of 95,000 the committee received last week. Passports, text messages, and private gatherings with public figures, as well as phrases from the book Lolita, which covers child sex abuse, written on parts of a woman's body. Photos are not time-stamped and do not implicate anyone. Republicans have accused Democrats of selectively publishing the photos to shape a misleading narrative. The act, signed by President Donald Trump in November, orders the DOJ to post all Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell related materials in a publicly searchable database. Agencies may redact limited details to protect victim safety, privacy, or national security, but cannot withhold information for political or personal reasons. Now, the Democrats were pretty hot to trot to get their hands on this, but doesn't that beg the question? When the Democrats had the White House, Congress, they had the whole ball of wax. Years. Why didn't they release? If they so desperately wanted these files, why didn't they release them? Trump warned them. He said, "You're not going to like what you find." What you wish for. The interstellar comet 3I Atlas made its closest approach to Earth, approximately 1 a.m. Eastern this morning, offering a rare glimpse at an object beyond our solar system. First spotted in July, this comet has been traveling roughly 137,000 miles per hour and is the third ever interstellar object observed in the Milky Way. First two were spotted in 2017 and 2019. Last month, NASA confirmed that it was indeed a comet, dismissing speculation that it was alien technology. Turning to Wall Street, is this the beginning of the infamous Santa rally? Well, when we bring up the charts, dissect that idea. Article doesn't click, we'll go sooner than later. From Bloomberg, traders who spent most of December wondering if the typical year-end Santa Claus rally was ever going to kick in may finally be getting what they've been waiting Or are they? While longer-term worries about the artificial intelligence trade linger and valuations remain stretched, optimism over a strong economy and corporate profits is keeping investor sentiment up. Traders are snapping up bullish options on chip makers and large cap technology shares, while the retail crowd remains avid buyers of U.S. stocks. Cloud lands a deal. Palo Alto. I don't know why my news doesn't want to today. Alphabet's Google Cloud Computing Unit and cybersecurity company Palo Alto Networks announced today an expanded partnership that one source told Reuters was by far Google Cloud's largest security services deal. The contract comprises a commitment by Palo Alto to pay a sum approaching $10 billion to Google Cloud over several years, according to direct knowledge of the matter. Executives at both companies declined to comment on the specific figures of the contract. Some of the spending will go into migrating Palo Alto's existing offerings to Google platform. A sizable portion will go to adding new services that involve artificial intelligence. AI has spawned a tremendous amount of demand for security. Americans heading into the holidays feeling worse about jobs and inflation than they did this time last year, with consumer sentiment hovering near record lows. You know how much stock we put in this data, especially the University of Michigan's consumer sentiment. That's a bunch of high school kids sitting in a room filled with phones, calling Ma and Pa Kettle and asking them how they feel about the economy. That's how they do it all year. You can buy that report ahead of time. That's why it doesn't have much of an impact on the market like it used to. But once the secret was out that that's how the Michigan consumer sentiment data obtained, it's quite clever of them to figure, hey, why not make a buck off of it? So the University of Michigan's final reading of consumer sentiment for December showed a modest improvement, 1.9 points from November. The overall index remains 28.5% lower than it was a year ago at 52.9. Last December, the reading was at 74. Biden was done with his Destroy America. Michael Saylor's strategy could soon be dropped from MSCI and potentially other major stock indexes, which analysts say could cost the Bitcoin hoarding giant up to $9 billion in demand for its shares and hurt the wider appeal of the sector. After queries from clients, MSCI in October proposed ditching from its global benchmarks companies whose digital assets holdings represent 50% or more of their total assets. It says they resemble investment funds, which it does not include in its benchmarks. But many such firms argue that they are operational companies developing novel products, and that MSCI's proposals unfairly discriminate against crypto. You can't see the manipulation there. It'll eventually dawn on you. Last but not least, Jelly Roll gets pardoned. Not by Trump, but by the Tennessee governor. 30 people, including country music star and Nashville native Jelly Roll, Pardoned Thursday afternoon by Tennessee Governor Bill Lee. Tennessee Board of Parole was heavily involved in the decision-making, and each case was extensively reviewed to officials. After thoroughly reviewing the merits of each case, I have decided to grant 33 individuals executive clemency, said Governor Lee. Each individual case is unique and warranted consideration, and I thank the Board of Parole members for their thoughtful recommendations throughout this process. All 33 people who were granted executive clemency have reportedly served their sentences and are not subject to any type of supervision. The decision comes just months after the Tennessee Board of and Davidson County Sheriff Darren Hall recommended a pardon for 41-year-old Jason DeFord, also known as Jelly Roll, after a hearing in which several witnesses advocated Nita Favor artist. Ford said he was seeking clemency to be able to travel internationally for purposes. According to the Associated Press, DeFord's most serious convictions are robbery and drug charges. In addition, the rapper turned singer reportedly has 2 misdemeanor offenses for driving without a license and possession of drug paraphernalia. Ford has since made several contributions to Music City, including visiting jails and rehabilitation centers to perform concerts and serve Thanksgiving meals at the local rescue mission. Thursday morning call, officials stated that the artist was treated the same as every single person who asks for clemency, and we're assured that none of it was signed with. I'm sure the governor has an. What you think? All right, let's look at the local news. Logic 247. It's our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. Not just E-minis, though. Also crude, gold, and silver. Currently in week 385. For the last 385 weeks, we have issued over 21,100 individual handcrafted alerts. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on simple market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Valerie forgot to change the date. Let's see what she did. She posted that this morning, 6:30 a.m. So let's fix that. Ready at 6:30 a.m. Now we got it all scored. Since the markets opened Sunday night, this past Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we've issued a total of 55 alerts. Valerie did the recap this morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. That one before was the one she did yesterday afternoon. So 55 total alerts, one never triggered. Still waiting on the outcome of 17. Some of those with the rally we had today probably been resolved to a positive manner. But at the time of the recap this morning, we had 37 actionable alerts. 1 or 3% would have been stopped out. based on simple market structure and the simple process we teach all of our passport holders. The purpose of the logic alerts is to teach you how to read a chart. Until you learn how to read a chart, the chance of you becoming a consistently profitable trader is slim. So, whether you ever trade a logic alert or not, simply focus for 2 weeks on doing the work on every alert that comes out. After 2 weeks, you won't even need the logic alerts because you'll be able to read the chart the same way that I. And again, where we sit this week is 3% stopped out. But there's still 17 waiting. I don't see putting out any more today. Valerie will issue a final recap for the week this afternoon. But again, over the last 385 weeks, which is a long time, a little over 7 years, issued over 21,200 individual handcrafted alerts, and we've averaged on a weekly basis 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out. Now, 385 weeks is a very long time, as I just said, over 7 years. Years before, we had Logic 247 at our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts. And they're different in a whole lot of ways, but for the purpose of this discussion, I'll just say they don't come out around the clock. See, the logic alerts, they can come out at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. Futures trade around the clock. We have globe. Our day session is our night session, and vice versa. However, concierge trade alerts, the CTAs, they don't come out around the clock. Published as a static report shortly before the Globex open each evening. So what that means is all of our traders had all of these targets 5 minutes before the market opened last night. Friday session began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. S&P 500, Dow, Russell, Oil, NQ, and now we can take a look at charts. Start where we always do with the bellwether, S&P 500. And leg retracement, leg deep retracement, leg retracement. Now we're right at the point. This is a very important area, an inflection point right here. Do we continue higher? Sunday night, do we open and close above the BBC? See, now this pullback here, every one of these candles is touching the BBC. So if you're looking at it this way, leg retracement, leg retracement. This was a 6-day pullback that held and went on to give us new all-time historic intraday and closing highs. Then a leg and a retracement. And then a leg, very big leg. Let's retrace, run like this. Leg retracement, leg retracement, retracement, leg deeper retracement where we put double bond. Then a leg and a retracement, and do we continue higher? Or is it the other way? Leg, retracement, retracement, leg, retracement. If we stop here, Sunday night, we're probably going to gap lower on the, but things look very bullish today, right up at the high of the session. Price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. It's called the BBC. It stands for bull cross. Price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and expect higher prices. Price crosses below the green line, we're bearish and expect lower prices. Need a candle to open and close below the VBC or above. Okay. Again, this was a 6-day pullback, which may have been a first. I could go all the way back to April 24th. Every pullback on the daily chart from the bullish side held till got a head fake. Opened and closed below the VBC on a Friday. And then on Sunday night, we gapped higher on the open. And the following Friday, we got an almost identical signal. Had a green body, this one had a red body. And we actually got a leg, a retracement, back held, and another leg. Then when we got to this double bottom, off we go and we trade back up through. Okay. Now again, historically, we rally into US holidays, especially Christmas. And so this may very well be the beginning. Could actually make a run at the all-time historic high. Now, I think we have more downside to come. Maybe doesn't happen till after the holidays. I wouldn't get too carried away just yet. Now, the 24% fib extension lines right up with where it turned to red. That's an area, if price keeps climbing, that's your first area of resistance. Next area is right here. Your next area is the all-time historic high, which is just right at the 38% extension. Now, we haven't had a 24% fib retracement on the daily chart basically all year. Long overdue. This market is extremely overextended. Notice that on this move, did not put in a higher high. So you could look at it this way. Head, here's a shoulder, here's a shoulder. This double bottom right here, neckline. And if that breaks, that would take us to the 24% fib retracement. That's the shallowest possible fib retracement. Now, earlier in the week, I drew in this orange line. I need to do that once. This orange line I drew in earlier this week on this day, right here. Got a wick sticking up and a wick sticking down. Put your cursor right between the two. That shows you the important price important area is likely to find support. And we all watched it day by day. Missed it. Always go to youtube.com/CFRN. Watch the day we drew the line and talked about what potentially happened. And it was that we would find support at that area. Bounced back up to the VBC. And the fact that we had red and falling overhead, a lot of red and falling, might get rejected at red and falling. So today is quadruple witching day. So the latter part of the day could get quite volatile. Sunday night, based on what happens in the final hour of trading today, Sunday night could be a wild ride. Some Sunday nights are pretty quiet. Other Sunday nights are. So this again before we end the broadcast. Now, all alerts are created on the 30 chart. Nothing magic about 30 minutes. It's just the time frame I chose years. And they say if it's not broke, leave it alone. So I have. Vertical line separates today, Friday, back here's Thursday, back here's Wednesday. Let me go back Tuesday. Now, here's Here's where we opened last night. This candle right here. Now remember, these targets, all of our traders had them 5 minutes ahead of the open. So price gets above the BBC, pull back holds, sends us right up to the trading zone. Now we've published the weekly trading zones the last 16 years. We just had our 16-year anniversary on the 14th of this month. December 14th of 2009, that's the first week we published the weekly zones. Price drops to a zone, we expect support. Price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance. It's pretty simple. So we got the resistance. The zone here is 6850/50. We got the resistance, which sent us back to the BBC. Right here, we had a candle that opened and closed below the BBC. That would typically indicate lower prices are coming. This candle's the next candle is again touching the BBC. Got head faked by that one little candle right there. Put yourself up. Happens. Okay. Now off we go. And 8:30, not much. 9 o'clock, not much. At the 9:30 Forex open, or the 9:30 Wall Street open. Off we go. This time we make it through the weekly zone. And we get up to, remember, this is Friday, this is Thursday, this is Wednesday. Right there is where we would anticipate resistance. This area, but we blew that here. This is this high right here. And we've spiked this area. Price seems to be trying to get to the next zone at 6906/6907. There's still 1, 2, 3 more zones overhead. We're going to probably close the week out right in the middle of the playing field. The highest weekly zone, it's not saying that we're going to go there. Lowest zone that we're going to go there. What the zones do is they basically create a playing field at the beginning of the week. It's like you're at a football game. You look at the gridiron. You're sitting at the 50-yard line. You look left, you got the 40. Look to the right, you got the same thing. So what the zones do is they give our traders that kind of a playing field at the beginning of the week. Don't expect the market to move here or move above here. And kind of right in the middle of the field right now. In fact, yeah, after 6906, we got 6953. I don't think we'll see any of those today. The market's starting to weaken right here. As you can see, the black step line is already starting to hang to the right. See, on the way up, on that powerful move up, just like over here. See how the step line in blue and climbing run parallel? Same thing here. Once that step line crosses blue and climbing, expect a retracement back to the BBC. I think that's what we're going to see happen as we go into the close and the final hour of trading. Witching hour. That's what it was originally called, the quadruple witching hour. Now people just call it witching day. As you can see, we're consolidating sideways. We had a powerful move up, shallow retracement. Now we're just above. Friday, Tuesday. You see this high from Tuesday? That's what we're up against right now. That's market structure. That's part of learning how to read a chart. Knowing to expect potential resistance at this point. And now the indicator today as it starts. See, it's already above. First, they're running parallel. And the black step line starts to lean to the right. So now it's directly above blue and climbing. It's the first step. So the next step will be for it to actually cross like this, like this. That's when we should see the retracement back to the BC. Now you've got support times 2 here. It's when we trade through a long target. Retracement, top side of that long target often will be support. Same is true when we trade through a short target. On the pullback, the underside of the short target will offer resistance. Price is still trying to print higher. High so far. 68.92 and a half. There was 68.92, so we've already taken this out by 2 ticks so far. Let's see where it ends. Now we've still got 9 minutes left in the life of this candle. On the Dow, so we opened last night, and at 1 a.m. we hit the short target, consolidated. Market finds support, it's always going to go look for resistance. That resistance is what we expect right here at the bearish cross. Red line gets below the green line, that's called a bearish cross. Have a bearish cross that leads to an extended move. First time price revisits that area will almost always be good resistance. And it is. Probably in a little bit of a hurry last night and put that a little higher than I intended. That's okay. We almost got there. Got the 48, 380. It by 6 ticks. When the market finds, just as when the market finds support, it's going to go look for resistance. And this is really important that you keep track of these bullish and bearish crosses. Resistance will send the market looking for support. Said the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. Back held and sent us up to the high of the session. 38,634. But Thursday we had higher highs. Wednesday we had higher highs. Tuesday, Dow's kind of climbing out of a hole here. But you've got potential resistance here, 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 here. Then the zone, and even if we get through the zone, here, here, and here. Look at the step line. I don't think you're going to have to worry about any of that because the step line's about to cross blue and climbing. That happens, see things, picture's going to change. We're going to see price come back. And again, this would be support times 2. Price drops to a weekly zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. And the pullback to the BBC holds more often than it doesn't. So, reasons. Up here's the reason for the retracement. Down here is where the retracement should find support. On the Russell, so we opened last night. Now red and falling got below price. When red and falling gets below price, support is usually on its way to becoming climbing. One is bearish, the other is bullish. And so, right here, got above the BBC, right up to there, the step line crossed blue and climbing, got a retracement to the BBC, and we ran up and we not only hit the long target right here at 8:30, See that wick right there? It's touching the zone. These zones were published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. Change in any way whatsoever. Here it is, a Friday, and zone we published Monday morning, doing its job, acting as good resistance. But just sent price back down to the VBC, where again the pullback holds more often than not. Here, get a leg, retracement, and another leg. We did take out yesterday's high, but we didn't take out Wednesday's high. This would be the next spot to look for potential resistance. Step line. It's already poised and ready to cross blue climbing. That should send price right back to the VBC. Now, got a big area here. Pull back to the BBC holds more often than not. Price drops to a weekly zone. We expect support until proven otherwise. And when price trades through the long target on the retracement, it often becomes a good support. So you got 3 reasons to find support in this area and then give us another leg to the upside. That doesn't happen. If we trade through all 3 layers of support, that would be very surprising. We should then look for potential support in this area right 3. And Q opened at the weekly trading zone, one of the zones last night. That's where we opened. At above the BBC, see red and falling, turn to blue and climbing. Leg, a retracement, back holds. Leg and a retracement, and a leg, and boom. Target, which was based right here off this blue. And we hit it. Now, there, we get a pullback to the BBC. And all these candles are touching. That's a hold. Off we go. Now, price rallies up to a zone. We expect resistance until proven otherwise, just like we expect support until proven otherwise. Got a double top going on right here at the zone. See what happens when I come back. Start out with crude oil when I come back. It's over. Michael's going to give us a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room. And do a little live trading as time permits. I'll come back, finish the recap, and wrap things up with our...
All right. Here we go. Here we go. Here it is.
It's good.
All right. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Friday. So, if you have not taken a free trial with us and you'd like to, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. There's no credit card required for the trial. Now that is going to bring you to the registration page. This has been updated for next week's stuff. Just fill it out. All we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. If you log in, if you sign up for the free trial right now, then you get next week, and then you get the week after that too, because we have the holiday in between. So you get Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week, and then you get Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday the week after too. All right, so you get it for a long time, almost 2 weeks right now if you sign up for the free trial. Yeah, so do that. Okay, the spreadsheet. We had a really good day today. It was actually our best day of the month. I didn't realize it was going that well until the end, but it turned out to be good. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you have to read the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. We're up 330 ticks on the NQ, -8 on the YM, plus 63 on gold, and plus 11 on the ES. Put us up $2,377 on the morning session. Today it took 5 minutes in one trade, you get the $1,400 with 10 contracts on, or $140 with just one contract on. We took a total of 53 trades with with 6 stop outs this morning. So we're at 88% of our trades were break even or better this morning. I could have been doing that the whole time. I didn't realize. It's not a hard thing to do. You guys have been asking for it too, and for some reason in my mind I thought it was just a complicated thing to do. It's not. Anyway, so on the month now we're at $23,005 over 15 trading days, averaging $1,533 per contract per day. On the year now we're at $276,462 over 219 days, averaging $1,262 per contract per day. Now, if you were to quit trading when you get the goal for the day and you would add one contract per month, so far this year, you'd be up to 12 contracts right now. You would have only had to work 29.96 hours if you did everything exactly like I did. You got all the same fills and everything else, but I know it's impossible, but still you could be close to that. 29.96 hours and be up $227,754. All right, averaging $7,600 per hour. That is a pretty big number. I don't know if we're going to be able to beat that one next year. We beat this number. This year alone, we beat that number. And we had a 13 contract bump on that number last year. All right, so that's it. Let's get into the trades. We did have a bunch of trades today. Most of them were on the NQ as they usually are lately. But we had a fair amount on gold. So I'm not going to go over everything that we missed during the break. I'm just going to do the trades that we did because that is going to take an ample amount of time. And then we got a little more opportunity to trade today because the markets have been pretty active. Today is quadruple witching. Means a whole bunch of futures and a whole bunch of options expire today. Stock options, all kinds of options. Futures options. A bunch of things expire today. Okay, so on the gold, we started out, this was our first trade. This is where we got the goal for the day on gold. We got 14 ticks profit on the first one, and we stopped out on the second one. That put us down to -1. Then we picked up 4 ticks, got us back to 0, then 6 to 6, and then, it seemed like a long way in there. Then went to 16, then 17, then 18, then 28, and 39, and 59. And there were 2 more trades in there. We went to 60 and then 63. I apparently didn't mark them. But somewhere there we went up to 60 and 63. So we ended up with 4 more ticks after 2 more trades. And that was it on the gold. Now, right now, gold is not setting up for a trade right at the moment. Okay. And the YM, were we down in the YM today? We were down in the YM today. We've been back and forth this week on the YM. Scrolling all the way back here. Here we go, all the way back here. There we are. All right. So on the YM, our first available trade right here on the YM, we picked up 6 ticks on that, and then we had a big trade on this one. We picked up 17 ticks on that one. And then we stopped out, and that put us down to 8. We went up to 23 after this, then we went down to 8 after that. Then we went to 9, and then 10, and then 16, and then 20, and we stopped out again, I think. We went to 20, I didn't mark this one, whatever that was, and then we stopped out. That put us down to 5, and then we stopped out again. Okay, and there's a stop out in here that I missed somewhere. All right, well, after this, I think we stopped out and we went down to 5, and then this was the second stop out. I didn't mark that. And then this was the second stop out where we went down to -10. And then we went to -9, and then we went to -8. And that was it on the YM for us today. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to go through all the trades we missed during the break. And that is actually, did I set up a trade? No, it didn't. Okay, let me get to my DOMs all ready to go. Okay, so we didn't end up with a trade there on the YM. On the ES now. On the ES, let's go back to the ES. We were back and forth on the ES quite a bit today too. We had a total of 6 stop outs today. So we had 2 of them there on the YM. I don't think on the gold, did we have any stop outs? We did have 1 stop out on the gold. So that was 3 out of the 6 that we've seen so far. Oops, didn't mean to do that. My turn. This was the ES, right? ESH. Okay, so it brought us right back to the beginning. Good. All right, so today, our first trade on the ES was right here. We picked up 8 ticks on that one. Then we promptly gave it right back, and we're at -2 after we stopped out. Then we got to +6. We had another 8 tick there. Then we had a +2 to get us up to 8. And then we stopped out again. So that is 5 of the stop outs so far. Stopped out again, that put us at -2. Then we had a 4 to get us to 2. Then we had a 3 to get us to 5. Then we had a 2 to get us to 7, and another 4 to get us to 11. And that was it on the ES. Not a lot happened here during the break on the ES. Right here is the whole break on the ES. Okay, and now the NQ. Let's see on the NQ. Scroll all the way back. All right, so on the NQ, we had a whole bunch of trades sitting on the NQ, 26 of them, I think. 5, 10, 15, 20, no, 21. 5, 10, 15, 20, 21. All right, our first trade on the NQ was 45 ticks. Then our next trade was the stop. That happened a lot today. It seemed like our first trade was a good one. Then the very next one, we stopped out and gave most of it back. In this case, we gave back 25 ticks, put us down to 20. Then we had a 4 to get us to 24. Another 4 to get us to 28. Then we had a big trade there. We went from 28 up to 73. And then went from 73 up to 118. 118 to 122. 122 to 142, 142 to 146, 146 to 162, 162 to 166, and then keep going. 166 to 169, 169 to 186, 186 to 194, 194 to 198. Keep going here. 198 to 243, 243 to 247. Then we stopped out after that one. 247 down to 242. I'm sorry, right from 247 up to, wait a minute, where we stop out? 243 to 247 to 252. Oh, okay, sorry, there's a couple in here that I missed. Went from 243 to 247 to 252 to 272, and then we stopped out. I went down to 247. So we're at 247 after the stop out. And then we went from 247 to 267 to 302, then to 306. And then we stopped out again right there. But that wasn't a full stop out. It was supposed to be a +4, but it slipped me like 12 ticks. And I ended up going to 294 after that. And then we got back to 302 there. And then 330 was our last trade right in there. And that was it on the NQ. Right, so that was a lot of trades. Without going over everything that we did today, and up close on this one right here on the NQ will be a long trade. Without going everything that happened during the break, that was everything we did in the morning session. The gold is going to have a long on and up close. It just gave the up close, and the NQ needs to give the up close too, and it just did. So the NQ's got a long, and the gold's got a long. And here's the NQ. Okay, neither one has gone to break even yet. Gold was pretty close. The gold's got to get up to 0.9. It'll bump it to break even. Okay, the NQ's got to get up to right there, and it'll bump to plus 4 ticks. The gold will actually bump it to yeah, I want to lock in some more here. That's 2 to 6, 16, 20. All right, so we're out with 20 on the NQ. 20 on the NQ, and we're still waiting for the gold to get to break even plus a tick. The gold will automatically go to break even plus a tick once it hits 5 ticks in profit. It's going to hit right here. The yellow has to hit right there. Okay. The yellow's going to hit there, not the white. There it is, break even plus a tick. Now we'll lock in 5, 8, 10. There we go. $2,000 right there between those two trades. It's 20 there and 10 right there. Oh, let's put it in down here. Right, I accidentally put stuff in this morning. 19 on the NQ, we're at 20, and on the gold, we're at 10. $2,000, 2 trades, 0 stops. Okay, and what do we have today? We got more minutes today. We'll have like 20 minutes today. Okay, so let's put this number down here. We'll have more trading time today. 20 in there. I wanted to have a little bit more trading time. That's why I skipped the stuff that happened during the break. Because markets have been good today. Feeling pretty good going into the weekend. All right, so the gold needs a down close to get into the midpoint and to get into the oversold, and then an up close right after. The NQ got the down close, now it just needs an up close. Gold needs a down close and then an up close. So the NQ just needs the up close. It's got a low here of 8.25, so be looking at 7 and change on the up close. We didn't get it on the gold. We're about to get it on the NQ, though, I think that's the bottom of this. Bottom is 225, so it'd be 7.25 on the NQ. We didn't get the follow-up trade on the gold. All right. So everybody follow me on that. 5 points away from the bottom of the bar. Low is 225, so 7.25 is where you want to enter. Now the low just got a little lower. It's going to be 6.25 is where you want to enter. Okay, now it's got a little lower, but it's still good. 5.50 is where you want to enter. Can't go down too much more. Can't drop below 9.25. 9.50. 9. It's not going to be a trade now. Cancel. Cancel. It's gone down too low now. All right. Does anybody have any questions at this point? Oh no, my mic was off that whole time. I was walking through that whole gold trade. I was explaining how it was better. It was better that it had closed down on that bar because it was further away from the swing high. And it triggered me and it gapped up and it bumped my stop to plus one tick and just took me out. And I was saying, I think I'm going to be sorry that it took me out with one tick because I think it's going to go up a little bit higher from here. I said all those words a few minutes ago. And well, I repeated them. Okay, so this is not a trade over here on the NQ. It's not a trade there, not a trade there. And this didn't end up going further yet. It's still going to get up here to 388. And the reason I was saying it was better because here we got a lower, well, when the bar closed, we had a lot more room to get to 388, enough to get the stop to break even and all that. I must have turned my mic off there, Jeff, for a minute by accident. And now, let's see. Student. Huh. So, did I not do that part? I'm pretty sure I did, but it's possible. Where are we now? Nothing, nothing, nothing. Going across all this. Okay, so let me move that down and this over here. So we don't have anything in the oversold right now. We don't have a chance to take a trade. Everything's in the green, but nothing's in the oversold. Okay, this didn't put in a higher swing over here. That gold, I'm glad I got the one tick now. I thought I was going to be sad I didn't. I got the one tick, but now I'm glad. Because it pretty much would have stopped me out to a tick right here. And it didn't finish the cycle. This one needs to get oversold. That needs to get oversold. That needs to get oversold. Now, I'm sure Dwayne went over this, but come over here. Look at that. Look at that right there. I didn't realize we're right up against the high of the day on the ES. Look at that. Right up against the high of the day. Right there. I did not realize that. Huh. That's good stuff. 7,000 by the end of the year. That's what I've been saying. 7,000. There goes the gold. All right. So that when I went through those options, it was a week ago today. I went through all those options and how to do all that stuff on Schwab. I think I was saying look for the 693s or the 695s or something like that. That's what I was saying, I think. Let's go back and watch that one again. All right, and up close here on the NQ right now. It's so close to the YVR. It's not going to be a trade on up close. It's too far away. It was so close to the YVR. The ES is pretty close to giving us a trade right now. It needs to hit the midpoint and bounce up. Okay, everybody. All right. This is not a trade here. So this is not a trade here. The ES could still turn into something, but it hasn't yet. The gold could still turn into something. It needs 2 down closes. There's the first one. It needs another down close and then an up close. Right, but the ES could still turn into something. Still waiting. All right, the gold could now turn into something too. We need an up close on the gold. The NQ is not going to be anything. The ES could be something, and the gold didn't put in a higher swing the last time. The gold's in kind of choppy spot right here, but it'll be a long trade on an up close. It's currently got a low of 5.8, so you'd be buying 6.8 on that. On the up close, you see it did get into the oversold there. It turned green. That means it did get in the oversold. Here's the up close, and it's starting to run a little bit. Okay, the ES got to the midpoint. Now the ES needs an up close. And somehow the gold just took me out at one tick. Let's bring it over. I'll show you the print in a second. I must have entered it the wrong place. I'm sure I did. Let me go and find the print on that. GCE. Last one. All right, I have an order waiting on the ES right now that hasn't filled. Okay, let's go back here. Crap. What was I doing? I'm trying to print this. Huh. This is what happened with the gold. Actually, I thought I got one tick. I don't know what happened. 3 to 6 right there on the gold. I've been getting really weird fills today. Okay, so the ES right now has a low of 89. So you'd be buying 91 on that right now. So here's the ES. That window on top. Is that still where it is? Yeah, 89 to 91. Gold needs a down close followed by an up close. And we just got 3 more ticks on that. Okay, so the ES still needs the up close. The gold is not a trade where it is. The NQ is almost going to give us a short trade. The YM's pretty close, but it just messed it up. The ES just triggered us in. And the NQ is pretty close to a short trade, right? Oops, the NQ is pretty close to a short trade right here. So we'll see what happens here with the ES. The NQ, we have 5 minutes left, or 4 minutes left right now. Okay, the NQ didn't work out. That wasn't at the midpoint right there. So that didn't work out to be a trade. The gold needs to give a down close followed by an up close. The YM's all messed up and the ES just needs to move up. Now 93.75 is the high of the day. That's also the swing high. And it's got some big numbers on both sides here on the ES. So we can go either way right now as far as the DOM's concerned. All right. The NQ is starting to move up. The gold didn't give us a down close followed by the up close that we're looking for. So the ES is our only trade right here. And how close are we to the high of the day on the NQ? We're a ways away from it on the NQ. This is it right here on the ES. This is the high of the day. And the gold, this is the high of the day on gold. 634 is the high of the day on the YM. So we're pretty close to the high of the day on everything, except the AQ. Did you call him, though?
No.
Okay. I was just curious. I saw your message just pop up. I think he really wanted to talk to you more than me.
Oh, I spoke to him the other day.
Oh, that's
So,
right. That's right. But it was
on
really
next week.
Okay. All right. So we're waiting on the yes right now. We have a minute left. Just need to stop out on the yes because that'll wipe out some of our gains that we had here. So I would be barely positive if we stop out on the yes. Now the YM is just about to give us a trade, so that would be nice if we got something off the YM. The NQ did not give us a trade here. It's still possible. We have a minute left. The NQ could give us a trade. YM could give us a trade. The yes could come out of this. The gold is not going to do anything for us, though. The markets really did slow down, didn't they? The last hour today is going to be pretty busy, I bet. You know, from 3 to 4, I mean. From 3 to 4 today. And the quadruple witching really comes into play. So I'm waiting for the YM to give us an up close. I'm waiting for the S to get back into the positive. Right, there's the YM. The YM just gapped up and it bumped my stop to +1 tick. Okay, now I'm going to go to +2 on the YM. The numbers are way up here on the YM. It's 628. +5 on the YM. Yes, it's back at break even. Okay, 5 on the YM. The close above the midpoint there was a good thing on the yes trade. 5 on the YM. And instead of 5 there. Okay. Sorry. Let's go back to the chart. I was reading Steven just texted me. Didn't end up with a trade here. We got a few ticks here on that. I think the ES is eventually going to move up here, but we've really run out of time. So we'll just wrap it up here like this. In this session, we had 5 trades with 0 stop outs. So far, the ES is just about back at break even right now. 5 trades with 0 stop outs. We're at $1,550 with 10 contracts. We're 155 with 1 contract. So again, enough to get the goal for the day. And here's the ES again, back at break even. It might, you can give it another minute. Or you just get out of break even. But just have contracts. I think it's going to go up 4 ticks anyway. So if you haven't taken a free trial with us, I'll just slide up to the side. If you haven't taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button right there. Okay, there's no credit card required for the trial. Just click on that purple button. When you do, you're going to be brought to this registration page. Just fill out the form. Once you're done filling out the form, down here at the bottom, make sure we have your TradingView login ID. Okay, TradingView login ID. Give us all that, and we'll get everything indicating on your desktop for you. I guess I'll just pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay, recap of the morning session.
Today it took 5 minutes and 1 trade to get to $1,500 or $140 contract.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
Okie doke. Well, listen, have a great weekend.
You too.
Guys,
be safe.
Pick up where we left off here. We got through everything but silver. If you missed any part of today's broadcast, as soon as I sign off, you can go to youtube.com/CFRN and you can watch today's broadcast in its entirety. So this is where crude opened last night. Line separates today, Friday, which began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. Back here's Thursday, back here's Wednesday. So we were just kind of flat and sideways, hugging the bottom side of the BBC. We got really close to the short target. So low here, we missed it by 1 tick. It's 56.61. Now, that target was based off slow. And I probably didn't, let's see, what was it there? That was 58. So, just showing you what I was basing it off of. I was just eyeballing it, so didn't quite catch the bottom of it. Get the idea. Came within a penny tick. Then price gets above the BBC, red and falling, turns to blue and climbing, and off we go. Right up to long target. Just off. Couple, 3 candles to get through it, and then we found resistance. Resistance will always send the market support. To the BBC, the pullback held. That's how the step line crossed. Price pulled back. Back held. Now we're in price discovery mode. Consolidating at the zone, that's what happens 70% of the time. 20% of the time rejection, 10% of the time slice. Now, made it almost up to the body of this candle. I would look for the next major resistance would be 685. So if we continue higher, and the market is poised to do that, so just have to be patient. 75 to 85. That would be sufficient to get your goal for 675. 6. Gold. Now, back a couple days, supported the zone, resistance at the zone, supported the. We had this huge spike yesterday. Then last night we found support at the zone and opened right at the BBC. We dropped to the zone below, found support. That sent us up to the underside of the short target resistance, which sent us back down to support. This time, as red turned to blue, managed to work our way through BBC. A lot of consolidation, hours of consolidation there. Leg and a retracement, and then leg that took us all to the zone 78/79. Now step line has crossed blue and climbing, so we're getting the retracement. When the step line crosses blue and climbing, could find support at the zone, could find it at the top side of the long target. Let's see. Again, look for down. These are so closely aligned. I'd be a little careful on the short side because you don't know where we're going to support. Now we could trade through the BBC, and that could put us back down here short target. Session is at the zone below. See how that pans out. And last is silver. Silver opened last night and hit the BBC resistance, dropped us short target, traded short target, almost made it to the zone below. Buyers came in, got us back above the BBC. We got a leg and a retracement and a leg, and we hit the target pretty much to the tick. Just off these highs from yesterday. That sent us back to the BBC where the pullback held. Get a leg, and now we're about to get a retracement. See how the step line is in the process of crossing. Right here, you've got support times 2. Price drops to a zone, you expect support until proven otherwise. And the pullback to the BBC holds more often than not. That area represents potential support times 2. Price trades through both of those, then there's potential support at the top side of the long target. After that, right here, black step line, cross blue and climb. That's an important price, important in here, cross here. Then you're at the short target. This little area here. In this low zone. So it looks like it's getting ready to drop. On the daily, we're still pressing up against red and falling. A close above red and falling is bullish, but it could be a head fake, so careful. Sunday night, Globex Open, be quite active. Now, for some reason, again, quadruple witching, we could rally into the close, we could sell off into the close. Just be careful. To become a member, email Valerie support@cfrn.net. Let her know you want to become a member, and she'll send you all the information you need signed up. Once you become a member, you'll have 2 hours of live training every trading day. It's an interactive environment. Trades in real time, and you're trading along in your demo account. Methodology, learning indicators, asking every question that's into your head, and trading in your demo. Live until you start trading real money, until you put together 10 consecutive days in a row. What's your goal? On top of the 2 hours of live training every trading day, access to private one-on-one. Extra charge, you just have to ask. Strategy you learn, the indicators you use as a passport holder across all markets and all stocks, futures, crypto, ETFs. It doesn't matter. The price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. Support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. It's just how markets work. Passport holder, you'll get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock. Teach you how to read the chart. Get the concierge trade alerts, typically 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open each evening. Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you get trading zones. And every Thursday night, you're able to attend the members-only workshop. Last but not least, you get the golden keys that open all private channels in. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof. Valerie, support at CFRN. Wrap it up with our angels watch over you. Psalm 91:11. He will order his angels to protect you wherever. A college professor once took a group of students to China for a field trip. Several days into the journey, the professor experienced unimaginable stomach pain. He was rushed by ambulance to a local clinic. It's a tiny town, and the medical staffer in charge of the clinic observed that the professor's appendix had ruptured. Poison was spreading all through his body. Since there were no surgeons around, there wasn't much that could be done for him. The professor went into convulsions, in and out of consciousness. Back home in America, during a church service, the professor's father, pastor, began to feel an extraordinary burden for his son. He said to the congregation, "We must stop and pray for my son. Something is wrong." In China, it was 2 o'clock in the morning. Suddenly, one of the country's most famous surgeons walked into the very surgeon who travels with the U.S. president when he visits China. Staff was amazed to see him. "Here to take care of the American," the surgeon said, and he operated and saved the professor's life. Next day, the surgeon said to the professor, "Who are those 2 men you sent into my office yesterday?" The professor replied, "I didn't send anybody to you. I don't know anybody here in China." The surgeon said, "That's odd, because they said you were a very important person and that I needed to be here to operate on you." God's word says, "Order his angels to protect you." That's our good word today and for the week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Wherever you are, God continue to richly bless you. Mercy, grace. I'll see you.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.